Hey guys, I'm out here in Nebraska again, and it's the day after Cornhucket 2020, and I'm here with Tim Oliver.
What's up?
When I was thinking about people to interview out here, obviously wanted to get the one with Jake, and there was a couple other people, but I really wanted to talk to Tim because we've talked before, and I guess I'm just real interested how long you've been riding and what were the phases of your riding throughout the years.
Oh man, I started riding. I got to think about it. I obviously as a kid riding and picking up a bike and doing things here and there, but actually seriously riding, I was in high school, so it was 10th grade, I think. My friend Jay Schlee, our local town bike rider, he threw a little dirt jump contest, and I was a skateboarder at the time, so I didn't own a bike, I didn't own anything, so hey, my buddy Mike, he rode. I'm can I borrow your bike? I'll ride in this contest, and that's the day I did my first backflip. I could do I could jump, I could do 1-footers and 1-handers. I couldn't do X-ups, I couldn't do tabletops, I couldn't, maybe 360, but I knew how to throw my body. I've done snowboarding backflips and trampoline backflips. I'm gonna do this. And that was the day I did my first backflip, and that was in '93.
Damn. And so how did you do in that contest?
I honestly don't even remember. The whole thing was a blur because I was so focused on doing this flip. Once I dedicated to it, and the day I showed up there, it didn't cross my mind at all to even go upside down on a bike. There's no way. That didn't even cross my mind. And then I remember an old video, maybe the Mad Matt video or something, but Matt Hoffman doing a backflip. And I'm so it is possible. And I bet you if I pull hard enough off this lip, I can go upside down. And just one thing led to another, and telling all my friends, I think I'm gonna try a backflip. And they're that might not be a good idea. There's nobody around here that does that stuff. And I decided to go for it and got upside down and got scared and just jumped off. And I did that 10 times in a row. I just couldn't hold on to my bike. And I remember talking to my buddy Jay, the guy that threw the contest, and I keep on jumping off the bike. Do you have any duct tape so I can tape my hands to my bars so I can't let go? And we looked in his car and we couldn't find any duct tape. And then I was just I just need to dedicate to it and just hold on super tight. And when I went to pull, I remember instead of getting scared to let go, I just squeezed harder and I landed and rode away.
Nice.
And that was I guess as of right now, that was the first documented backflip in the state of Minnesota back then. That was the first guy to do it, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's wild that you were thinking about putting duct tape on your hands.
Yeah, and I was so frustrated because I'd get upside down and I don't know if it was just not feeling it right or never doing it before. I didn't know what the feeling was, and to the point where you get upside down and I just jumped off every time. The bike got destroyed. The forks were all bent back in. I had to actually spin the forks around so it would be raked out instead of raked in.
Yeah.
It was.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I destroyed my buddy's bike. I didn't even own a bike. I destroyed his bike, and he couldn't be happier. He's like, "Oh my God, my bike is the one that did the back." That's fine. I think he still has it.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. But I couldn't find duct tape, so I just decided I needed to squeeze harder, and it made it work.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was that it? Then you were just hooked?
So that was in '93. And then all my friends were like, yeah, you did a backflip. There's very few guys in the sport, even top pro guys, that do flips. You got something. So I realized that I learned pretty quick, and I wasn't afraid to fall down. So I decided to fall down that's all I did was just fall down all the time. I would just send it flips and, trying tail whips and 360s and bar spins and, nothing was impossible, I can do a flip and, it took me a few times, but I got it. I could do more. Really, I was a skateboarder. I had a friend that he rode BMX, but we wanted to hang out, but I couldn't keep up with him. So I'm here's the deal. You skate with me today, and then I'll ride bike with you tomorrow. And it got to the point where like, I don't want to skate. Let's ride bike again. That was awesome. Let's ride bike again tomorrow. And that was it. I never picked up my skateboard again. I just rode bikes. You know, so it was fun.
I remember. So like, tell me about all the years of doing shows. Like, is there anything that really sticks out in your mind? Because I mean, as far as like the people I know, you still do shows, right? Yeah, and like you've been doing it longer than anybody else I know.
Yeah. So I mean, that all started. Obviously, I got the flips dialed, and I could do flips all the time. And I was kind of known as the guy around Minnesota and the Midwest that would just flip. That trick opened up a ton of doors for me. So I would go to my local skate park was in Mankato, Minnesota. It was a YMCA park. And they had an indoor box jump, and it was a 4-foot lip. The ceilings were super low, but I would flip the thing all the time, and got to the point where I'd pull up too hard and I'd do ceiling rides and still pull out of it. It just crazy stuff. But people started to know me as the guy that could flip and being really consistent. A guy named Jeremiah Anderson ran a bicycle stunt team called Chaos on Wheels, and they were based out of Manly, Iowa at the time. And I ended up meeting him at the skate park, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to come and do some shows with us? It'd be awesome to have a flip in one of our shows." So I'm like, that was kind of as soon as I said, "Yeah, let's do shows." I did shows with Chaos on Wheels and Jeremiah, Frank Stewart, like that whole crew of guys for it's like 10 or 11 years straight. And for a while, that was my full-time job. That's all I did is just traveled and did shows. Started off with 3 shows a year in Iowa, for county celebrations and stuff, to getting a chance to like go out to Washington, D.C., and then we meet up with other groups. And we did shows called the Freedom Experience with like an illusionist and a skateboard team, and ended up meeting like, another type of shows. Stephen Baldwin ran, the actor, and it opened up all these crazy doors, and one thing led to another, and I ended up getting in and doing shows with other teams, and touring with Brooks and Dunn and doing shows with Giant.
Dang, you went on tour with a country band.
I did. There's so many crazy stories about that. Yeah, I toured. I was down in Iowa working with Jeremiah because we would build skate parks also for small town Iowa.
Okay.
Working, I get a phone call at lunchtime. It was noon. My friend Tom Haugen, he rode for Giant, free agent. Like he's been a huge inspiration to me for a long time. He called me and said, "Hey, I got this thing that I need to do, but I got other obligations in California. Would you want to do some shows?" Like, I'm never going to turn down a show. Yes, I'll do a show. It's like, all right, it's for Giant, but it's like it's a longer contract. So I mean, you'll be on the road. He didn't know much about it. He's like, it's for a band, and everything's paid for, and you get paid. All right, sweet. He's like, all right, call this number and talk to the guys, tell them you want to do it. So I called and talked to the guy from Giant at the time. He's like, awesome, yeah, so you'll be touring with this band, Brooks and Dunn. You'll have your own tour bus. You'll be riding with Trevor Meyer. He'll be doing the flatland. You'll be doing the ramp stuff. Your flight leaves Minneapolis to Detroit at 5 o'clock today. Damn. And I'm like, I'm in Iowa. I'm like hours away. He's like, all right, sweet, we'll see you there. I literally hung up the phone, jumped in my car, hauled back to Minnesota, packed my bike, threw whatever clothes that were laying on my floor into a box, went to Minneapolis, jumped on a plane, flew into Detroit that night, and that started like a month-long tour of riding in $1 million tour bus, hanging out backstage, getting paid really well to do 5 or 6 tricks on a sketchy box jump.
Yeah, was it like part of their set, or was it like?
Yeah, so it was Brooks and Dunn. It was called Brooks and Dunn and the Neon Circus. So it was Brooks and Dunn and like Rascal Flatts and a bunch of other country music people that I don't know, but they're big. Yeah. So it was them, and then it was like a circus atmosphere. So there was like fire eaters and sword swallowers and tough men, and like a really circusy type. There was tough guys that would rip phone books and
Oh, yeah.
Elvis impersonators walking around, and so we were the entertainment part of it, and that would all happen before everybody would go into the stadium.
Oh, okay.
So they'd kind of walk through this whole circus atmosphere into the stadium to watch the bands play, and we were part of that circus atmosphere. So we all had I had a bunk on $1 million tour bus, like it was awesome. It was everything. Food was taken care of, catered.
Yeah.
Just really cool experience, and got paid really well and had a blast doing it.
Yeah,
I got to
dude.
ride with Trevor Meyer every day, know?
Did it turn you on to country music?
No. And that was one of the things the first day I was there. So I get up in the morning and there's always a sign on the front of the bus that says catering is in the yellow building, straight forward to the right. So we would go in and there'd be full catering. They'd make you omelets, whatever you wanted. First day, me and Trevor get up. We go sit down for breakfast, and this guy comes up, like full on hair farmer, hair sticking up all over the place. A wife beater, sits down with his pajamas on, and he's like, "Oh, hey, you're the new guy. Welcome. Do you like country music?" And I'm like, they could tell. I'm covered in tattoos. I have gauged ears, not a country guy.
Yeah.
And they right away they're like, "Yeah, what's your favorite Brooks and Dunn song?" I'm like, trying to think of a song. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think it's the Boot Scootin' Boogie one. He's like, "Oh, yeah, that's one of them. Cool. Yeah, well, good to have." Just clowning me. They were having a good time with me. Nicest guys ever. So he gets up and walks away, and Trevor's like, "Do you have any idea who that was?" I'm like, "No, I don't know." He's like, "That's Kix Brooks." Kix Brooks. Oh, from Brooks and Dunn. That's one of the Brooks and Dunn guys. I just didn't get it. And ever since then, they were super cool. They'd come in and they'd watch us ride, and we'd go backstage and hang out with them, and just awesome people.
Yeah, that sounds kind of strange. I've never been to a music-based show like that, but it sounds cool.
It was really cool. It was awesome. We'd go to sleep at night, and the bus drivers would drive us to another state, another venue. We'd wake up in the morning, eat some breakfast, set up the ramps. People would all come in, and we'd do 2 shows, 20-minute shows, tear down the ramps. Somebody else would take care of them, load them up in the semi, and we'd spend the rest of the night walking around and being backstage. And it was really cool experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I know you were telling me that you were doing shows at SeaWorld and stuff too.
Yeah,
Or something like that.
Yeah, those amusement parks.
Yeah. It's kind of wild how just BMX shows just are pop up in those weird places.
Yeah, I've done BMX shows at amusement parks. I did some holiday circus weird shows where I was dressed up in a mouse costume. Yeah, it was a company out of Vegas called Q Productions. They hired us to do. It was a holiday show. It was Christmas oriented. Mm-hmm. So me and my buddy Tom Haugen and a couple other guys, we would be dressed up in mouse costumes, and we'd have to act. We'd have to pretend we were looking for a piece of cheese, a big chunk of cheese on stage, and we found our bikes under the tree instead of cheese, and we decided to ride these bikes. And
This isn't making sense.
No, it didn't make any sense at all, but it was so fun to do. With 4 of us riding, we'd do 2 tricks each and scamper off stage like mice, and that would be the end of the show. But, we were throwing flips and Supermans and all this stuff, and the crowd would love it. We'd ride in front of, 3,000 people a night, and we'd do that for a month straight. Everything paid for, you know? It's been awesome. I've got to make BMX a career for a long time, you know?
It's kind of funny to me that it's almost with the circus shows, BMXers have replaced the elephants.
Yeah,
they can't have elephants anymore, so they're let's bring in Tim.
yeah, the wild animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's obviously a ton of stuff that we could talk about with BMX, but I think it's pretty cool seeing all the riders getting into mountain biking now, and you're one of them. How did that even get there? Because it seems like you're just diehard BMX rider, but then you jumped on a mountain bike, and it seems like you've really enjoyed that.
It's my location actually. So I moved from Minneapolis, or just south of Minneapolis, out to Pennsylvania a few years ago. Being born and raised in Minnesota, where it's completely flat, was a lot different than being out, right next to the Pocono Mountains. So yeah, just the location I'm at now is like there's a ton of mountains, and I've always seen like downhill and mountain biking on TV and thought that was really cool. It's like you got your skateboarding and then like some BMX and then motocross and like there's all these different levels of like gnarliness.
Yeah.
And mountain biking is right up there. So I met a lot of friends from that area that ride downhill, ride mountain bikes, and my buddy Eric, just one day he's like, "Hey, you want to go to Mountain Creek in New Jersey and we'll ride downhill?" I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think I bought a bike, or I got one, I rented one. I can't even remember. It was a while ago. But like I said, I've done shows in front of thousands of people. I've done shows in front of 8 people,
Yeah.
But the day that I went downhill mountain biking, legit downhill, was the funnest day I've ever had on a bike, ever, in general. Like, motorcycle, that day was the best day. I mean, I used to ride freestyle motocross as well. I've done a lot, but that was just the best day.
All right, we're getting interrupted here. Habo's coming in. He's trying to get some more screen time.
And you know what, Jerry?
What?
While I'm here,
Yeah.
figure I might as well do some tricks for you guys.
So yeah, I just rode downhill for the first time with those guys, and I had a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And everybody that I was riding with, like, wow, you're really fast, and you can jump everything. Obviously, it's from my BMX riding, and it just made sense. So I spent the money, I bought a nice bike, and I try to ride as much downhill as possible because it's honestly, it's super gnarly. Like if you crash, like you're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
But
if you don't crash, you feel pretty good.
You
like
feel
even
good.
if it's a gnarly run.
the suspension helps my body so much. Like my knees are shot from riding over the years and surgeries and stuff. I can ride downhill all day long and walk away with a smile.
Yeah.
I ride BMX for 20 minutes and I'm aching. It's hurting.
I hear you.
So it's fun, and I like to go. I've always been a jumper, so I like to go big.
Yeah.
And Thunder Mountain up, it's in Massachusetts. It's like the biggest jump line in the country right now. I mean, you're jumping 50, 60 foot gaps with 16-foot tall lips. Like, it's seriously the best feeling ever.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
so
saw
much
that.
fun.
I'm like, I would want to do that, but I don't know.
It's so much fun, and it's, if you can jump a bike, you can do the stuff. It's just you kind of have to build the balls to say, okay, I'm going at this lip that I can't see anything. I just see this looks like it shoots to space, and I'm doing 40 miles an hour, and that's probably the speed that I need. And just take your finger off that brake and go.
Yeah.
It's the adrenaline rush is like nothing I've ever experienced. It's awesome.
Yeah, I know you don't know Colin, but he does the YouTube channel with me. But he came down to visit me, and I didn't have like a mountain bike, but I was kind of like riding some of the cross country trails on my DJ. I didn't have a mountain bike. The first ride we did, it was like 2,400 feet up, and when we went down, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but like it was just kind of the same thing. Like there's a lot of runs you just have to do it, otherwise like the slower you go you get screwed. But like I just remember that was like the best feeling ever, and like it's nice to have the BMX background for sure, but like it feels so good to get on a mountain bike.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of like diehard mountain bikers that started riding mountain bikes that race. Like I'll show up to a race and I'll have like a Caddy Woods t-shirt on, like a BMX shirt. People get pissed. Like, oh, great, we got this BMXer, coming in our sport. And I think my first race ever, I made podium. I got 3rd place. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And people were like pissed. Like, oh yeah, no, he's a BMXer. Like, it's not fair. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man, I'm having fun. This is awesome.
But to be fair, the BMX community was so resistant to mountain bikes for so long. It probably still
Yeah.
exists, but like,
Yeah.
because I remember it was kind of like the thing where like, oh, mountain biking's not cool. Like BMX is so much like crazier, and like it really. I wish I would have gotten into mountain biking sooner, but
too.
that was part of what pushed me away from it.
Yeah.
So what about? So I guess like you were getting into like riding contests or riding races and stuff, mountain biking and those kind of aren't happening right now, I assume. Or
There is, like the Eastern States Cup out on the East Coast. They're still doing it. I did a few races. Like I said, I made podium my first race ever, and it was kind of like a false sense of being good. You know what I mean? Because I've done many races after that. I bumped up a class, and I just get spanked. I get spanked every time. And it reminds me of like the BMX racing, because I used to race BMX too, and if you're winning, you're always winning. If you're losing, you're kind of always losing. You know, it's like it's hard to be really competitive to the point where like, hey, I'm gonna get first or second, and I might not get first or second, depends on who's racing. And I just get spanked. Like I raced once last year and like full on into a tree, and then like that kind of like, you just never know. If you get a flat tire, your race is over. If you hit a tree, if you put your foot down, sometimes like the matter of, you know, 100th of a second sometimes is between first and second place, you know. But it got to the point where I'm like, I'm paying $100 to race, and if I slip a pedal, my race is over. Like I'm not even going to be considered for top 3 or podium or anything. And I love riding just to have fun. Like, and it's more fun to load up with a bunch of friends in the car and head and just ride, follow each other down paths, and you know, kick up rocks at each other and laugh, and you know, that's why I want to do it. So I'm not really too much into the racing thing anymore. If one comes up and it's like, yeah, I got that weekend off, like, I'll go race, and I got the money to do it. I'll go play and have some fun. It's still an adrenaline rush. You're pushing yourself. But I'd rather just go with my guys, you know. Just,
for sure. I like when I do races. I like the heckling group, like in the rock gardens. Like that makes it so fun. Like I thought I would hate that part of it, but it turned out that's like pretty fun.
The hecklers that we got like on the East Coast, they take it to another level, man. You think of guys heckling and being loud and like chainsaws and like all this stuff. We got a group of guys that, like when we got some of the top pros, like Aaron Gwynn would be racing one of our races, and got this guy. It happened last year. It was awesome. The guy's like, all right, everybody. And we're like in this gnarly rock section. So it's like, all right, everybody, the next one that comes through, everybody gets super loud, right? And when I like cut my hand, everybody be quiet. So super, super loud as this guy's coming through. And as soon as he comes into the rock section, quiet. Nobody says a word, and he goes down, and then everybody laughs and giggles. It's just fun, you know. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think's like kept you riding? Like I guess I didn't even get that out of you. Like how long? Like how many years have you been riding?
So probably from like 1990. Maybe 92, because I think I when I dedicated to like, you know what, I'm going to put down the skateboard and I'm going to concentrate on riding and progressing. It was probably 92 or 93.
Okay.
Because I did that flip, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. Like I can do something. So from 93 to now, so I mean, I'm not a math guy, but it's got to be
27 years, yeah.
27, 28, yeah. So I've been lucky with injuries. Like I've broken bones. I broke my back. I legs and stuff.
It doesn't sound very lucky.
Considering all the stuff that I've done and traveling and the thousands of shows I've done, my injury list is pretty small. So I mean, broken things here and there, concussions. I got a lot of concussions, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. I've been pretty lucky. So I've just never stopped riding. You know, stopped for an injury, but it's just in my blood that if I'm hurt and I know I'm out for 6 weeks, like I'm counting down the days so I can get back on my bike. You know.
Yeah. What do you think like makes you feel that way? Like what makes you want to ride so bad?
You know, honestly, I don't know. It maybe it's an addiction, and I'm not a big fan of addiction. I mean, I'm 100% straight edge. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do.
Well, and that's probably part of the reason that you're able to.
Yeah. So I mean, it's got to be an addiction. It's like that's my adrenaline. That's what I need to get high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't do anything, which is crazy. I don't do any type of drugs or hallucinogenics or anything, but I'm fascinated by it, like what it does to your mind.
Yeah.
It's weird. Anyway, maybe I just need that. I need that adrenaline I need to kind of scare myself every once in a while to feel alive, you know, because I don't get it anywhere else.
Yeah.
So honestly, the people that I meet too, like I flew from Pennsylvania to Minneapolis and drove 8 hours to get here, not to ride. I just wanted to see my friends.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I just wanted to hang out with everybody, and you know, I could have not taken my bike out of the bag and been content and just not ride.
Well, I'm glad you brought it out because I got a chance to ride it, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm hooked. I need to get a 22-inch BMX
They're
bike
so
now.
much fun. They're so much fun.
But I would imagine riding with your kids probably, I mean, not that that would have stopped you if you didn't have your kids to ride with, but I bet that's pretty cool to, you know, see Noah progressing,
Deegan and Noah,
progressing.
both of them. Yeah, I mean, my kids they're you know a few years apart. So when Noah was really getting into it and progressing, you know, Deegan was just kind of getting on the bike and, you know, a little 16-inch, and watching them both progress has been awesome. And that's been a huge, and I've always wanted to be a younger dad that like, hey dad, let's throw the ball. Like, dude, I can go throw the ball with you. Like,
Yeah.
I can, hey dad, let's go ride. I can go ride. I'm not an old man yet that I can't,
Yeah.
oh, I'm too sore. I can't, you know, you guys go play. No, I want my kids to have a good childhood and
For sure.
have a lot of memories, you know, going to different skate parks and meeting, you know, some of the most influential people in my life are the most influential people in their life as well. You know,
Yeah.
like Carl, for instance.
Well,
you know.
and they're going to become influential in the next
Yeah,
generation's life.
absolutely.
You know, I've seen that with Jacob, you know. He's,
Yeah.
And even Deegan, like 3 years ago, he was too afraid to go down that rolling, and now he's doing like tail whips. And
Yeah, it's watching the progression, especially with Deegan. It's blowing me away, and there's no pressure. I'm never going to be a dad that's saying, dude, you missed that pedal. You got to
Yeah.
clamp your feet harder. Like you got to land on that. You got to land on that. You got to concentrate. I've seen
especially
seen
in,
those
like,
dads out
BMX
there.
racing. And,
I
it's
can't, man.
disgusting.
It turns the kids away, and it puts them in a bad mood. Like if you're not riding to have fun, don't ride.
Yeah.
You know, like it's you do it for fun. If you can make something, and you know a Jacob theme, he loves riding. Doesn't matter if he's getting paid. Doesn't matter if he loves riding.
Yeah.
And he's so good at it, you know. And I want Deegan to get to that point where, yeah, oh, you're gonna pay me this much to, cool. Honestly, I do it for free.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
and he's 12 years old and he's learning flip whips in the foam. Like, even Jacob yesterday, he's like, dude, I was nowhere near that at 12 years old.
Yeah.
Like, as long as he keeps a good attitude and progresses, like he's gonna be killing it. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, I can see
So-
it. It's like almost like the same thing as like Jacob and Kian, and it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I see him like next year. He's gonna be like winning
Yeah.
something in the pro contest. I bet.
Yeah, I hope so. He loves it. It's a little bit tough for him. So he lives in Minneapolis with his mom. There's not a lot of places to ride in Minneapolis, especially in the winter. It's
Yeah.
really quiet, you know, with the factory closing down and stuff like that. It's really limited. So in the summer, when he comes and stays with me in Pennsylvania, we just ride. We ride all the time, every
Yeah.
day, and you know, Woodward and all that kind of stuff. So his progression really happens in the summer with me, and then it's kind of slows down in the winter.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that's
So-
a bummer, and that's why I think it's like so important. Like, and I want to keep involved with Nowhere because I've seen it. You know, I've met so many locals here, and like, there's a lot of locals that don't show up the next year.
Yep.
And it's because they don't have something in the winter, and now they do. So
Yeah, exactly. This place is crucial.
One thing you brought up that I've been thinking a lot about it, like just, you know, because I just turned 31, which isn't old, but like whenever a birthday comes around or whatever, or you tell somebody like you ride BMX or whatever, they like, people want to talk to you about like how much it sucks to get old and like why is that the normal thing? Like, I'm so sick of hearing that. And like, I like talking to people that are like, I don't know, I'm just going to keep riding or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like people just like sell themselves short too often because
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think as long as you take care of yourself, you know, I don't, like I said, I've never drank or smoked or whatever, but I'm assuming that can't be good for your body.
No.
You know, so if that's just like kind of like a pastime, like, I'm gonna drink and I'm gonna smoke and I'm gonna do this, your body's gonna break down faster.
Yeah.
It's gonna be harder to recover from injuries and stuff like that. Man, I think as long as you just stay healthy, you know, body, mind, and soul, I think you can ride forever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 43, and yeah, when I crash, it takes me a second longer to get
Yep.
back up, and I'm still gonna keep riding. Like I feel the way I'm going, I'll be riding into my 50s for sure.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not progressing, but I'm still gonna ride and have fun.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously I've been riding BMX for a long time, and now my body hurts. Like just from last night, my knees are killing me right now, and I got a 7.5 hour drive today to think about how bad my knee hurts, and
The drive's probably not going to help it either.
no, but it's so worth it. So yeah, you know what? I might not ride BMX 3 years from now. I might never pick up a BMX bike again. But I found downhill, and I'm absolutely in love with riding downhill. And it's way easier on my body, and my knees don't hurt, and I can still really push the limits and scare the crap out of myself.
Yeah.
I still get that same feeling. I still get that adrenaline rush, hitting new gaps, like jumping off of whatever. So that's kind of like the downhill thing is kind of taken over from the BMX. I don't ride my BMX bike as much. I mean, and after mountain biking, maybe there's something else out there that, push it. I think I'm one of those guys that I'll have something in my life that is an adrenaline. If I'm done riding and my body's too beat up to ride a bike, I'm going to start jumping out of planes, I'll figure something out.
Yeah, it's like what I was saying, like how you have to. Like I just don't understand how that goes away.
Yeah, adrenaline has been a huge part of my life since I was a kid, I'd skateboarding. And then, later on, I got into BMX riding, and I got into professional MMA. I was a professional MMA fighter at one point, training Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. And then I was torn between keep training and try to make something of that life, or stay riding BMX, because I couldn't do both, because most of the time I was hurting, and I'd go roll and train, and okay, hey, don't put me in an arm bar because my arm is killing me from that crash I had last week.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do both. So
you got to go all in on that.
Yeah. So I stopped that, and then I got a dirt bike and I started riding freestyle motocross. And I've flipped a dirt bike. I've done that, and then you start losing. You make friends that are the top guys in the world, and then you start losing your friends. Crashing and dying on their motorcycles. And I'm like, dude, these guys are dying, and they're some of the best in the world. And I'm not. I got to settle down. Like, I'm going to go back to BMX and just concentrate on BMX. So sell my dirt bikes, and BMX has always been like the number one. I always go back to that. No matter what else I try, I go back to BMX. And you know what? I'm riding a ton of downhill right now, but I still got my BMX bike. And I just built that 22-inch, and it feels awesome. And that's kind of like lighting a fire under me again to ride more trails and hit bigger stuff. And
yeah, I totally get it.
It's fun.
And you have to, because you gotta. It's like mountain biking is cool and hanging out with those dudes, but like coming here and riding BMX is like a totally different thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, I think that was pretty good. I mean, I think next we need to figure out somewhere to go ride together. Maybe get some of my other buddies out. I keep telling them we gotta go up by you. I don't know, it's kind of hard to schedule, but like I don't really have a whole lot of. Hopefully I can get up there by you, or you can get down by me, and we can
maybe we can meet halfway someplace.
Yeah.
We'll find a nice mountain like halfway between. We'll just go meet up. I just bought this 15 passenger van with a bike rack and a bed and everything in it, so I'm itching to make a road trip out of it. So dude, I'm down. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, we can find somewhere in between. That'd be pretty good. But.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Anyways, well, thanks, man.
Cool. Thank you.
Good to see you.
You too. Absolutely.
Thanks, you guys, for listening. And that's it. Yeah. Peace.